Hey, I'm Jordan, CEO of Mainframe, and I wanted to show you what we've been working on with our team that we call Cobot. Cobot is now, as of when you're seeing this, in early access beta, and we can't wait for you to use it. We just wanted to show you how it works and what it looks like and tell you more about it. So very simply put, we describe it sort of as the first to-do app that does it for you. And this is a glance at what it looks like. We'll go in much more depth on that in just a few. But I wanted to describe a few of the core concepts of Cobot and what actually makes it work and how you can use it. And we'll go through what are Cobots, tasks, how workflows work, and spaces. Starting with Cobots. Cobots are basically our phrasing for what we call agents in our app. They're these things that can collaborate together not only with you but each other to help get work done. And you'll sort of see what that looks like. I think right now in this era of agents, it's really interesting. You're told to go into a code editor, copy some JSON, connect to an MCP server, and we think there's just so much opportunity to make agents really simple to use because they're so powerful, and even distill them down to a mobile device. It reminds me a lot of the era of iTunes way back in the day when that was first introduced, where prior to it you had these MP3s and you had to figure out how to organize them and get them onto your music player, and iTunes just dramatically simplified all of that for you and distilled it down into this really simple interface. And I like to think that's sort of what we're trying to do with agents. We're trying to take everything that's complex and make it super simple, intuitive, accessible, again, because we feel that they're just so powerful and create this new environment where you can work alongside them and they can work with each other. Similarly with iTunes, it also reminds me of the iPod, where you had finally this really simple music player that was super easy to use. You loaded your music in from iTunes and just took your songs on the go. And mobile, as you'll see, is a big emphasis of ours. We believe that the ability to take agents on the go, because that's the form factor that they truly enable, is really exciting, and we're pushing really hard on that. So agents inside of Cobot, these are example Cobots that come out of the box with your team. They sort of look and feel like the apps that come on your phone, like you've got mail, calendar, a web browser. And the way we've structured Cobots is that they sort of just map to the different apps and services you already use. And we think it's a really simple way to wrap your head around what an agent actually is. They're all single purpose, do one thing really well, and they can collaborate with each other. So beyond the utilities that come with Cobot out of the box, you've got, of course, things like your Google G Suite for productivity. You've got coding tools like GitHub or Vercel. You've got other productivity tools like Linear and Notion that all now have their own agents or these MCP servers. And it's really the network of these agents being inside of one single environment that allows them to work together that enables really compelling use cases. And that's really at the core of Cobot. It's not as much necessarily using one Cobot at a time, but rather how they all work together in fascinating ways that you didn't expect. In Cobot, as of right now, we've got just over 30 Cobots. This is a large growing number as more companies release their own MCP servers. You can even bring your own MCP to connect to, and you can even choose the LLM that these Cobots use. So now that we've got Cobots and the base understanding that they're simply just agents that wrap these apps and services you already use, let's go a little bit deeper on tasks, which is kind of the core primitive of Cobot. Tasks are things that you give to Cobots to actually help you get work done. So you give a Cobot a task, or even multiple Cobots, and it'll help you complete it. Back to the interface, the home screen of Cobot, you land directly on this to-do list style experience where you can really easily and quickly create new tasks, and here's my list of tasks that I've created with all the cobots that are helping me accomplish my to-dos. It's really simple to add these tasks, and even very familiar if you've ever been in a group chat where you can @mention people. It's very similar. You just @mention different cobots you want to get in the loop and say, hey, this cobot do this cobot do this, and send off a task. Here I've got a video where I'm creating a task on our iOS app and telling one cobot to do something. It gets another cobot in the loop that it needs data from, and the cobot gets what it needs, thinks for a sec, uses its own tools, and eventually responds with whatever you're trying to accomplish. So this is really the core idea of Cobot. You interact with these agents together in tasks, and they work together to get things done. The other core construct in Cobot is what we call workflows. And these are ways to run structured tasks where not always do you have these one-off things that you need to get help with, but rather you want some more structured, repetitive, recurring things to be done on a regular basis, on a schedule, for example. And what's cool about our workflows is you very simply just bundle these different cobots together that you've connected to your accounts, and they work together, just like magic. Here's an example of a very simple workflow that gets triggered on a schedule. And, all I have to do is describe in natural language for each cobot what I want it to do. Like for the calendar cobot to get my events for today, the browser cobot goes through each attendee and researches their background, and then delivers that into a Notion page. And I can run that on a regular basis, so it does some calendar prep. And this is actually what it looks like in the interface. They're really simple to put together. You just describe them super simply with natural language, and you run them just like a task. Here's a quick example of a recording of a simple workflow. It's getting today's stock performance, so it calls the stock cobot to go and get some of the market information, and then it asks the news cobot to find some background on what the stocks cobot came back with. And these two are just collaborating together, and at the end of it you've got Cobot sort of summarizing the result. And so this extends to many more compelling use cases and concepts where you're actually connected to real data, but that's just a taste for how it works. The last concept in Cobot that we think is really compelling, it's rather early, but we think we're going to push really hard on, is called Spaces. And it's a way to actually interact with agents where we think things are headed, which is well beyond chat. And we've created sort of this desktop style experience right inside the web app, where you can open up these cobots, and they've actually got UI. So some of our cobots you get out of the box, like mail, comes with a UI once you connect your mail account. And you can both engage with the agent in the sidebar, but you can also interact with a fully functional mail experience, just like you would expect inside of the main panel. And what's really compelling about this is you've got an agent alongside UI, so you get the best of both worlds. And the UI is using the same data that the agent uses, so it's all super connected. Same thing with calendar. You can connect your Google Calendar, for example, and here's a little minimized version of calendar where I can go through my events and see who's joining and get all the fully featured calendar stuff I would expect, and join meetings, etc. And what we think is really exciting is that, I'll get my face out of the way, you've got cobots with UI today, like mail and calendar, that we've built, but also you can engage with other cobots in Spaces, and it's primarily chat driven at the moment. But what we suspect is over time, even cobots that are powered by MCP will have their own UIs that you can interface with. And again, we're really excited about this concept. So That's an overview and a very quick look at Cobot, sort of what it looks like and how it works. We've really been enjoying having the chance to build it and uncover new use cases and things we hadn't imagined it could have even we could have even had dreamed it would be capable of doing. And it really does feel like you've got now this team of agents that you can orchestrate and command and interact with in a really, really seamless, intuitive, easy interface. And you can use it both on the web and our iOS app. And we're really excited about continuing all of these ideas and features and pushing it in tandem with your feedback. So again, Cobot is currently in early access beta. You can try it now at cobot.co, where you can sign up and you can install the test flight. And again, we'd love your feedback and for you to experience it and see sort of what it feels like to finally be able to interact with all these agents you hear about outside of the context of a code editor or your terminal. And we can't wait to keep building it with you. So thanks so much for taking a quick look, and hope to see you as a customer. Appreciate it.